Hi, this is Brock Dickinson coming today from Hampstead Heath in the north end of London. I wanted to talk today a little bit about the difference between truth and authenticity when it comes to tourism development and tourism promotion. We talk a lot about authenticity in this age of social media and the need to make sure that our stories and our promotions are authentic in nature. But that doesn't necessarily mean they have to be truthful. Behind me here is what is known as Boadicea's grave. Boadicea was a 1st century Celtic queen, famous for an uprising she led against the Roman Empire that spread throughout southern England and almost removed or forced the Roman Empire to vacate the British Isles at that time. The rebellion was put down in the year 60, and Boadicea was dead shortly after that time, and one of the great mysteries has always been, where is her grave? In the early 19th century, rumors started to emerge that this hill here in Hampstead Heath, the hill you see behind me, was actually the gravesite of Boadicea, and for more than 200 years it has now been sort of a destination for wanderers and walkers and hikers to explore the story of Boadicea and to kind of come face to face with her grave. However, archaeological digs suggest there is no grave here. This is actually a bit of a rubbish mound, a bit of a garbage tip from a few hundred years ago that just now happens to be at the center of this major park. And I think that's revealing because this is still a wonderful site to visit. It's still a great place to see. It's a way to connect with British history in some really interesting ways, even though the story at the core of that tale isn't necessarily true. And I think as we think about the way that we promote tourism efforts in our own communities, we can take some important lessons from that. Authenticity means we tell the story in a truthful and powerful way, but that's different than the story itself being true. We can think of the way that North Carolina has used the story of the lost colony of Roanoke to promote tourism, or how the Newport Tower in Rhode Island has been an interesting way to kind of reflect on tourism opportunities and communities there, or Oak Island in Nova Scotia, which has been famously connected to everybody from the Templars to the Vikings to the Spanish to the Portuguese to the English to the French, and all of them having buried treasure on that site. I think none of those stories are necessarily true. It's impossible for all of them to be true. But the fact that they are told authentically has helped them to drive tourism activity across Nova Scotia. And that's a powerful lesson for us, that the stories we tell don't necessarily have to be true as long as we're open and upfront about the way in which we tell them. The authenticity of the stories, the imagination that they spark, the ideas that they unveil is what really compels tourists to visit our community, even when they know that the element or the grain at the center of the story is not necessarily a true one. If it's authentic, they will still come. Thinking about the difference between authenticity and truth in the way that we tell those stories is important, and I hope this is helpful as you think about your own community's tourism efforts.